All right, so if you are seeing this page, then that means you should have already completed pages 233 and 234 in your SAB. Those are the pages that I want you to complete before you watch this video. They are the review, and it's so much better for your practice if you do those pages on your own rather than just watching along with me. So please, please, please stop the video, do those pages if you haven't done them already, and that will be your entire lesson for the day. Do the pages, watch a video, that's it, you're done. So I'm even so serious about that. I am telling you to stop the video if you have not done so far. But if you're back and that's because you've already done that, then thank you. Let me change my pen size real quick. Yeah, let's do that guy. And let's go ahead and start grading. Again, assuming that you've already done them all. The first two questions are always about vocab. So it says you use the blank to simplify an expression. What are we using there to simplify an expression or get it down to its lowest number? That would be the order of operations. Just a quick reminder for you, they look a little like this. You've got to do your parentheses first. Next you would do exponents. I'm just not asking you any with exponents. Then you do all the multiplication and division from left to right. Doesn't matter which one comes first. And then finally you do all the addition and subtraction from left to right. Again, it doesn't matter which one you do first. And then this one says an, that's your hint there, an blank does not have an equal sign. And that would be an, an expression. Okay? All right. So this one's kind of fun because it wants you to place the parentheses in here. So it says place the parentheses in the expression at the right so it simplifies to 27. So let's just do it left to right without any parentheses and see what we come up with. 4 times 5 is the first thing you would do. That's 20. And then the rest are addition and subtraction, so we'll just do them left to right. So 5 plus 2 would be 7. So, sorry, 4 times 5 is 20. And then 20 plus 2 minus 1 is what I would bring down next. 20 plus 2 is 22. And then 22 minus 1 is 21. So that's not it. Let me erase that. So my job is to figure out what do I think I need to do to combine these together to get up to a number like 27. Well, 4 times 5 to equal 20 didn't give me enough to work with. So what if I figured out what 5 plus 2 is? What if I put parentheses around that? Let's just try that. So I'm going to do 4 times whatever this is. So first I need to do 5 plus 2, which is 7. Then I'll bring down everything else. 4 times 7 minus 1. Oh, I think that's it. So then I would do multiplication and division left to right. 4 times 7 is 28. And then 28 minus 1 is 27. So that is where your parentheses will go to solve that problem. For 4 and 5, it wants you to write this just using words. So it's 4.1 minus 3. So you could do a couple of things. You could say subtract 3 from 4.1. That would work just fine. You could also say just simply 4.1 minus 3. That would work. Okay, number 5, write 8 plus 7 times 9 using words. Well, this is where you have to be careful because you know that you have to do them 7 times 9 first. So you could maybe say something like, find 7 times 9, then add 8, something like that would show me my order of operations. You could also do something like find the product of 7 and 9 plus 8 or something like that. Okay, number 6, write an expression to represent multiplying the sum of 4 and 12 by 5. So I need to add 4 and 12, which will be in parentheses, and then I'm going to multiply them by 5. You could either put your 5 in front, or you could even have done your 5 in the back. Both will work just fine. Okay? And then number 7, write an expression to represent dividing 10 by n and then subtracting 2. So the and then makes me think that I need parentheses of some kind. And then the next part that I would do was subtract 2. So I just have to figure out what I would do first. And it says divide 10 by n. So I'm going to take 10 and I'm going to divide it by n. So something like that would work great. Okay, moving right along. These ones want you to use order of operations to simplify each expression. Mrs. Glassie's some of her very favorite things to do because she loves order of operations like a nerd. So I'm going to write it over here in the corner just so you got it. And there's no parentheses here, so I'm just going to look for multiplication and division before I add and subtract. So here I see 4 divided by 2, and 4 divided by 2 would be 2, so I'll bring that down there. And then I'm going to bring down the rest of the problem, which was 16 plus. So 16 plus 2 is 18. Moving on to number 9. Again, look for multiplication and division first. So 5 times 3 is 15. Bring down the rest of the problem, and 21 minus 15 is 6. Here I've got parentheses, which is the very first thing I'm supposed to do. So 10 minus 2 is 8. And then I would bring down the rest of that problem, and 40 divided by 8 is 5. Number 11, again, I'm going to do those parentheses first. 17 minus 8 is 9. And then I'm going to bring down the rest of this problem. 18 minus 9 divided by 0.5. Okay, well, next I need to do division. And 9 divided by 0.5, it's actually the same as figuring out what half of 9 is. Or sorry, what double 9 is. If you took 9 and you split it right down the middle, you'd basically have 2 groups of 9, which is 18. So then that tells me that this is 18, and 18 minus 18 is 0. Okay, number 12, there are no parentheses, so I'm going to do all multiplication and division from left to right. So 54 divided by 9 is going to be 6. Then I'll bring down everything else. 4 times 9 is going to be 36. So then I'll bring down everything else. And 6 plus 36, is 42. That's a tricky one. Okay, number 13, I see 2 sets of parentheses. So I'll do these ones first. 0.2 plus 0.8, that's easy, that's just 1. And then it's going to be times 1 minus 0.1. Okay, well, 1 minus 0.1 is going to leave me with 0.9. And then I'll bring down everything else. Oh, that looks weird. Imagine that more like a decimal. And then 1 times 0.9 is simply 0.9. Okay, 14 and 15, again, and just evaluate. This time is where you plug in your n with whatever they tell you. So 5 plus n times 4, I'm going to rewrite that this time using this 1 instead of an n. So it's 5 plus 1 times 4. Well, that's easy enough. 1 times 4 is 4. And then 5 plus, so 5 plus 4 is 9. Okay. And then again, I'm going to plug in z. Z is 15.9 this time. So that's going to be 15.9 minus 6. And then I'll divide that by 3. So I'm going to do 15.9 minus 6 first. Just to make sure I do that correctly, I'm going to solve over here to the side. 15 minus 6 would be 7. No. 15 minus 6 would be 9. That was funny. Okay, so 9, and then I bring down my decimal point. So 9.9 is this first answer. And then it wants me to do 9.9 divided by 3. Well, seems hard. It's really not too bad. Thanks to Paula, who tells you to bring your decimal point straight up. Now tell me, do you really want to love me forever? Oh. 3 goes into 9 3 times. And then 3 also goes into 9 3 times. So your answer here would be 3.3. Couple more problems. This one wants you to just simply write your next 4 terms in each pattern, and then it wants you to write a relationship. This will be good because you have a test tomorrow, and you are going to have to write a relationship, although I pretty much just had you fill in the blank, so it shouldn't be too bad. But this one first just wants you to simply add 8. So I start with 8, and then if I add 8 each time, that's going to be 16, and then 24, then 32, and then 40. And then if I add 4 to the bottom one, that's going to be 8. And then that's going to be 12, 16, and then 20. So hopefully you took some time to figure out what you noticed between the relationship between the top and the bottom. So the first thing that I noticed is that the top row is twice the bottom row. Or I guess you could also say times 2. But then that also means then that the bottom row is half of the top row. Okay? All right. Again, if I ever move too fast, you just pause and then you start when you're done. So this is the last page or last part of your last page that you're solving. It says the cost of Rosa's phone plan is $40 a month. So it wants you to complete the table for that. If she spent no months paying for a phone, she has spent no dollars. So that's easy enough. But then if she had the phone for 1 month, she's paid $40. She had it for 2 months, she's paid $80. And if she had it for 3 months, she has paid $120. So it wants the X and Y coordinates here. Again, you start, this is kind of like your X, this is kind of like the Y. So that's 0, 0. Then we have 1, 40, 2, 80, and then 3, 120. It wants us to graph, draw a line, and then extend the line, and also label our graph. Lots to do there. So let's do each one in a different color. First, we're going to graph in green. So we've got 0, 0, which is here our origin. And then I've got 1, 40, which will go right there. 2, 80, which will go right there. 3, 120, which will go right there. The next thing it wants us to do is draw a line. I will do that one in black. It wants us to connect all those lines and extend it. So I went ahead and extended it. So I guess I did both of those. I drew the line and I extended the line. And now finally I'm going to label these with what X represents and then with what Y represents. So the X here is basically this part right here. So it's the time in months. And then that's pretty easy because then that means this part right here, your cost or your Y is the cost in dollars. And I'm not going to be able to write sideways, so I'm just going to cost, and then I'm going to just put a $sign next to that. Okay? So, final question. Explain how you can use the pattern in the table to find Rosa's cost for 4 months. Explain how you can find this cost using the graph. So basically that just meant if we go over to 4 months and we follow all the way up, we can see that she's going to earn 160, which would have landed us right there. Okay, so the way you could write that, we could say, let's see, so we could say follow X axis to 4, then go up the Y axis until you reach the line, which is at 160. Something along those lines is totally fine. Mine says much more fancy things, but I'm totally fine with that. All right, so here's the deal. You are done for today. That's great. You just did your review. If you're like me and you want to just get something like this done, you could actually go ahead and do your Unit 7 test now. But if you need a break, you're fine. That's your assignment for tomorrow. So you'll notice there's only 3 videos this week. 1 video for 7-6, which you've already done. 1 video for your review, which you just did right now. And then you're going to have a video for 8-1 whenever you watch that. But the reason there's no 4th video is because one of your days in math is supposed to be spent solving that 10 question test. So good luck on the test. I'm always around, but definitely during office hours if you need me. Times are changing this week, so be careful about that. But otherwise, best of luck, and log into Zoom if you need help.